Shalom, my name is Yehoshua I am a didactic scientist. I live in Jerusalem, and this is a video about the end of the world. Okay, folks, um, I can be serious and talk about physics and quantum reality and local reality and non-local reality and Bell's theorem and the new economic paradigm, the new cognitive behavioral science paradigm. Okay, let's back up and let's get serious, folks. Where are we in human history? Um, well, depending upon whether the viewer, the listener, is a secular humanist or a traditional spiritualist, religious, secular, whatever, everybody has their ways of interpreting what they hear. Some are good scientists and lousy philosophers. Some are good philosophers and lousy scientists. We rarely get the combination of both, but okay. Let's say a few things that make sense in terms of today. We have the collapse of the local reality, and what does it mean to you, to your family, to your community, to your nation, to all of mankind? It means the end of the world. The world that we knew yesterday is no more. So we all better get used to the fact that we're living in a new world. Nietzsche called it nihilism, and he said it's going to be the worst terrible event, etc., etc. The end of mankind's exile, by no coincidence, happens to come at the time of the end of the pre-modern, modern paradigm shift to the postmodern era. Okay, the collapse of the local reality means that what you and I and all mankind were yesterday, we are no more today. We can deny it and cling to ground zero, or we can get on with the process of deconstructing and deprogramming the mind of man and mankind that was yesterday's exile. Okay, that's what it means. So the end of the world has come. It's not a joke. Go out and tell the people who are hiding in the caves in Idaho and somewhere in Europe and in Canada and in South America, they can come out of the cave. The end of the world came. And thank God the world has not been destroyed. But the world that man created in man's truth, that produced in his mind the exile of man and mankind from God and from his authentic self, and that's the God of the cosmos who created the world, created this universe, created the cosmos, who the atheists tell us doesn't exist, but they too are in denial. And by the way, they're very rational. You know, I could name for you a few dozen scientists who get up and talk for a few hours and convince most literate, well-educated people with a couple of degrees that there's some credibility to their argument. But that said, when we look at the local reality and the non-local reality in quantum mechanics and Bell's theorem of inequality, and we weigh a number of things and we juxtapose that against the collapse of local reality, only God can bring the collapse of local reality. And somebody said, well, you know, I live in Jerusalem and we're religious. Well, the Mashiach came. I don't know, maybe he did come. But I can tell you this much. The Mashiach, not even the Mashiach, could bring the collapse of, only God could bring the collapse of local reality. And when one understands that, they would be very quick to agree. Okay, now having said this, I'm not making a joke when I say we have come, the end of the world has come. And this means the following. The collapse of the local reality ends man's exile from God and from his authentic singular self. This operates on 4 levels. The psychosocial, which means relating to societies, nations, and whole societies and cultures. The behavioral level, which relates to the ways in which we sociologically organize, develop our morals, our values, our ethics, and primarily that's the function of religion and organized religion. Well, you know, Hitchens notwithstanding, who says, you know, the cause of all evil in the world is religion and organized religion. I'm absolutely convinced of it. Well, Hitch, hate to give you the bad news, you're wrong. The exile of man and mankind is the cause, not organized, not religion and organized religion. Sorry, Hitch, nice try. Okay. And Ann Coulter was right. You know, she put you in your place, and she was right to do so. as did Matthews and a few other people, O'Reilly and a few others. Good for them. Okay, Dawkins, very rational fellow, good biologist, lousy philosopher, very rational in his denial, God delusion. The only delusion that Dawkins is suffering from is the delusion of Richard Dawkins. Okay, Richard Dawkins is a delusion. He has to get up the learning curve with the collapse of the local area, the end of the world in which he lives, the God of the cosmos that created it, and find out that he doesn't exist. And the only delusion in Dawkins' mind is the belief he has in who he thinks is Richard Dawkins. Okay, having said that, into the world, folks. Back to, so now on the cognitive level, what are we talking about? We're talking about collapse of local reality. The cognitive level refers to man's relation with his spouse, himself, his family. All of the confusions of mind, of exile, in the absence of authentic identity, significantly impinges upon all of these relationships. But the most significant of all is man's relation with himself. And when in exile, he doesn't know who he is. This is flawed. And so he gets a first-class education. He becomes very rational and a scientist like Dawkins, and he says God is a delusion. Okay, there's a kind of a scenario that we can see what kind of things happen. Blessed be the meek and humble. God loves them. Okay, lastly, there's a psycholinguistic level, and this is the God-to-man access. So, you know, God doesn't exist, but the fact is, not only does God exist, God was before anything we see in the cosmos existed, and when we don't see anything in the cosmos anymore, he'll still exist. Okay, an interesting perspective of God's existence can be summed up in the brilliance of Goethe in the third act of Faust, when he writes the doctrine of eternal recurrence in this elegant line, and he says, let's see how if I can remember quote it correctly: "Abide moment, but if you cannot abide, at least return eternally." You know, Einstein. You know, we're told Einstein was an atheist. Rubbish. Einstein was no atheist. Einstein was a remarkable, brilliant scientist, very humble, and God was to him of immense complexity, and far too complex for him to even begin to fathom. No, those were his own statements. Goethe, I'm a didactic scientist. Most respectfully and humbly, I believe in God. Oh, yes, wow. And what I've seen, woo, woo, woo. Okay, folks, the end of the world. So now, on the psycholinguistic level, back to what I was talking about, the relationship between God and man. God speaks, but God doesn't speak with the voice like I speak and you speak. God speaks in many, many manifestations of signs, symbols, and they have grammars, and you can learn them. And thank God I learned them. And so when many things have happened, when God has spoken, I've been blessed to receive what they mean. And we say, "Oh, this guy's crazy, he's a lunatic. He thinks God's talking to him." You know? God speaks in immense complexity. God can speak to many people. He can speak to all mankind simultaneously, and he can differentiate the particular dialogue. So anyway, I'm finishing, run out of time. Somebody's knocking at my door, so I have to say to you, thank you for listening today. I'm Yehoshua Yaakov. I'm the didactic scientist and author of Humanomics. Just a minute. Hey, when I'm on the... Thank you. I'm the author of Humanomics. It's trilogy. It's central organs to receive and to give, and the new economic paradigm, the integration of labor. Humanomics is the solution to the collapse of local reality that brings about the ascent of man and mankind to inhabit the quantum reality. And this applies equally to secular humanists who believe in God, and Humanomics defines secularism as belief in God, and traditional spiritualists. They converge in the moderate redemptive man. Thank you for listening. I'm Yehoshua Yaakov from Jerusalem. Kabel b'shulitet, I bless you, and kabel b'shulitet, receiving to give in English. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned. More to come. End of the world, folks.